Hi, it's Natalie.
Hey y'all, it's Madeline.
And I'm Autumn, and this is TWT. Hey everyone, welcome back to TWT. My name is Natalie. In today's episode, we'll be honoring TRIO SSS and all the great resources and opportunities this Student Support Services program has to offer for students. With me, I have our special guest, Keisha Jones, Director of TRIO SSS STEM H, and Colin Bezard, a student currently enrolled in the program. Ms. Jones and Colin, why don't you tell us a little more about yourself before we begin?
Again, my name is Keisha Jones. I've been working with TRIO Student Support Services for almost 3 years now. Prior to that, I actually worked in the Center for Student Development. I worked in a couple of different areas with like Greek life, student organizations, leadership programs, and then help support some other areas in that department. So in total, I've been at TWU for 10 years. I am originally from Arkansas, and I also have a rambunctious 1-year-old that is keeping myself and his father on our toes every day.
That is awesome. So great to learn a little bit more about yourself. What about you, Colin?
Hi, so my name's Colin Bessart. I'm originally from Louisiana, but I transferred to TWU 3 years ago. So I'm currently a senior majoring in biology. I'll graduate in May, this upcoming May. I joined TRIO a year after I started at TWU. So this is my going on my third year. I just finished out my second year in the program. So that's a little bit about.
That's great. Thank you so much for joining me again. This episode is a little more special to me than others because I am also part of TRIO. I've been part of TRIO since I started my career here at TWU, since freshman year. And it's honestly been amazing, and I've met so many great people. But with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get started with a couple of questions that I came up for the both of y'all. Um, First one up, how do students qualify for TRIO SSS?
So I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about our application process for SSS. First off, the students that we serve are income eligible first generation college students or students with disabilities. So if a student meets any one of those criteria, then they are eligible for the program. So students apply, and we have two SSS programs, Classic and STEM H. Classic serves students in all majors. STEM H serves students in STEM and health-related majors specifically. So once the application is submitted, then our SSS staff processes the application to make sure that students are eligible with those three criteria that I mentioned earlier. If they are eligible, then we will reach out to the student to have a quick interview, and that's really very informal, just to learn a little bit more about the student and their educational journey. After the interview, then we will notify the students to let them know if they are in the program or not.
Awesome, awesome. So I know you mentioned that. Is there a certain time frame within like the academic year for application processes and all of that?
So we admit students on a rolling basis.
Okay.
So we do have a certain number of students that we are able to serve for our program. So Classic can serve up to 140 students, and STEM H can serve up to 120. So once we reach those numbers, then students will go on a wait list, and then we'll move them up the wait list as students transition out of the program, whether they graduate or they transfer from TWU or another scenario to where they're no longer a participant.
Okay, thank you for that. So I know you gave all the requirements. Now what type of students should join SSS? Like, if someone's considering maybe the program and wants to know if they're a good candidate for it.
So one eligibility criteria that I left out in the previous question, and I did that for a reason, was that you must be an undergraduate student. So
Okay.
unfortunately, we do not serve graduate students in our program, but you must be an undergraduate, and then you also have to be either a U.S. citizen or eligible for federal student aid. There is some conversation happening right now at the national level of, will there be a possibility that we can start to serve students who are not U.S. citizens?
Right.
At this point, we are still not able to, but there are conversations happening on that possibility. So as we know more, we'll release that information. Other than that, I would just say that a student who feels like they may need some additional support,
Yeah.
whether that is study strategies or test taking strategies, they feel like they may need some tutoring in some different areas. They want more information about career exploration and kind of figuring out what they're going to do after graduation, or just someone that just needs just general support. You need someone that you can use as a resource to get information that you need, or sometimes just to have a sounding board. So if students feel like they need some of those things, then I would say that, this program would be a great opportunity for them.
Okay, thank you for that. So this question kind of perceives to both of y'all, but what is y'all's most memorable, positive interaction with a student or calling for you with an advisor or director from the program?
So I can
So
go.
yeah,
Oh,
go ahead, Colin.
okay. So my first year, after joining Trio, I learned you have to have like every so often like your one-on-one with the director. So I had my one-on-one at a time where I was like really stressed about a lot of things in my personal life. It was like a buildup of like school, finances, what I wanted to do in the future, and things like that. And the director was able to really help me and like calm me down and help me make a game plan, kind of like divide everything like, okay, this is one worry, this is a second worry, this is a third worry, so that it didn't seem like it was so overwhelming. So I think that even if it's not related like directly to academics, Trio's still a good like support group, and they can help you with a lot of things other than just academics as well.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. And I can totally relate to you because I was on the same boat as you whenever I joined the program. And I feel like they just took some weight off my shoulders because stress really just takes over you. And I feel like once you have like your one-on-ones that are required by the program, you kind of settle back and are like, okay, well, it is overwhelming, but I can take control over it because I'm breaking it down into pieces.
Well, I'm so glad that both of you have had positive interactions with the program and with staff. As far as my most memorable interaction with a student, I have memorable interactions with students just about every day. And most of them are positive. In the scenarios that the two of you described, with the interactions that you've had with staff, I think those are moments that probably touch me the most, when we can meet with our students and they are walking away with information, they're walking away feeling better, feeling lighter. Those are, some of those moments that really make us feel like we are in the right place and that we are providing the best service that we can to our students. So all of those moments are enjoyable for me.
That's so nice. So, Colin, what do you appreciate the most about the support you receive from Trio and how they're there for you in every aspect as a student and even a person in general?
I remember when I went to like the first general meeting at the beginning of the school year, and we like got our shirts and everything. I didn't realize that Trio was not just a TWU organization, but it's like national. And I had never heard of it before getting here. So that was really cool to me. I like how there's a bunch of students in Trio and we're all really supportive of each other. There's no judgment. We all come from many different backgrounds. Some people may be first gens, some people may be low income. But whenever we get together, we all mesh really well together and there's a lot of uplifting. So I really enjoy that aspect about it.
Yeah, I definitely agree on the points you touched. So I know Miss Jones was in SSS during her college experience as well. So this contributes to the both of y'all. How did this contribute to your college experience and postgraduate life, Ms. Jones, now that you've, you know, completed your career, and Colin, that you're about to do that?
Yeah. So I started in student support services as a first year student at the University of Arkansas. My student support services specialist, his name was Demetrius Richmond. And he's, gone on to work at different institutions and out of SSS now. But he was one of the first people that was in building my support system at the U of A. One of the things that we did in SSS that, this is still one of my best memories of being there, was one of the cultural trips that we went on. We actually went to see the Alvin Ailey dance company to perform at a performance hall in Northwest Arkansas. And just to have that experience and that exposure was very important. I had never been to a ballet before. Um, so it was, and I had loved dance ever since I was a little girl. I always was very drawn to like any dance performances or anything like that. So to have that experience early in my college journey was just important, and the relationship that I was able to build with him and other staff at SSS was just very important to my development as a student. I was also really close with the director, Kenya Gordon, at the time, and she actually wrote my letter for joining our sorority. So I was very close with her. And then she also worked in SSS when she left Arkansas many years ago. I wouldn't be in higher education right now had I not been in that program. Demetrius nominated me for the NASPA Undergraduate Fellows Program, or the NUF program, when I was in undergrad. And that program is a mentoring program that introduces undergraduate students to the field of higher education. And prior to that, I had never even thought that, that was that was a job industry to go into. Even though that's what he did, it just really didn't click in my head at the time. But the exposure and the relationships that I built through being in that program, that's when I decided to go to grad school for higher education. I made a lot of relationships with faculty at different institutions that I was interested in going to grad school. But I ended up staying at the University of Arkansas and just continued my development and network there. And then here I am today. So it's very much a full circle moment for me to now be working in SSS when my college journey started in SSS so many years ago. Not that many years ago, though. I'm still pretty young, but
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like being in the program, you develop so many like networking connections, and you put yourself like thinking outside the box and experiencing stuff that you would never see yourself doing. Like you said, you would have never seen yourself in higher education, and that's really the cool part about it.
very much so. Yes.
How about you, Colin?
Yeah, so I agree with that networking aspect. Just learning in general, I've learned so much through experiences that were introduced to me only by Trio. Like, for example, this past summer we went on to like a women's conference leadership thing, and I learned a lot from like entrepreneurs, women in leadership, things like that, but also from other attendants who were college students as well. I remember in like one of the workshops, we were talking about like programs you can put on for our school, and another girl was an RA, and she gave me the idea of a program that I could implement over here at TWU as an RA. It was like you buy succulents for everyone in your hall and you take care of your plant. And if your plant's dying, then you can kind of be like, oh, how am I feeling? Maybe am I struggling in academics? Like it's kind of like a representation. The plant represents how you're feeling. So if you're not taking care of that, maybe you're not taking care of yourself. So that was something that I learned that I didn't think going to a women's leadership conference, I didn't think I would get an RA program out of that, but I did. Another thing more related to post-grad life, like I said, there were like entrepreneurs, women in leadership there that talked about their journeys and their careers. And it really opened my eyes to see that careers are not just like, I don't know, sometimes I feel like I limit myself to thinking about what careers can be. Like, oh, everyone knows teacher, doctors, nurses. You can be a business owner, a real estate agent, but there are so many that I never considered. So now I feel like I have more of a wide range of things to consider after going to that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was on that trip as well. We went to Washington, D.C., and I'm pre-med as well. And before this trip, it was kind of like, okay, I want to be a doctor. This is what I'm going to do. That's the ultimate goal. But after meeting so many people and like people that have different careers that you didn't even know about, you're making conversations with them and you realize like, oh, like, well, maybe if that plan A doesn't go well, you have plan B, you can be this or you can be that. And you're like, okay, well, that's a eye opener for you because you see that you're able to be successful and not close out just to one plan and stick to that. You're able to change your mind. You're able to, you know, if that doesn't work out, try something else. And you're just not, it's awesome how you can explore so many things that you never thought of just by networking and meeting new people, even through the program. Um, but with that being said, I know, Colin, you mentioned workshops and how they had hosted workshops. What has been your guys' favorite workshop or even an activity hosted by SSS, Miss Jones and Colin?
So I actually have two, and there's one that we've already done, and then one that's going to be coming up. So this past, well, 2 weeks ago almost, we took students to the Toyota headquarters in Plano, to learn more about the internship opportunities, co-op opportunities, trainee programs, and then also to tour their campus. So I had been to the Toyota headquarters before for a workshop that was specifically for college administrators, career services folks, people who kind of help students to get internships and things like that. But I learned so much more information this last time because that presentation was directed at the students. So just learning more about all of their offerings, how they, really kind of like to have like homegrown people at Toyota. So students who are there in their internship and co-op programs, they like to reach back into that pool to then bring those students into their like manager and trainee programs and then bring them on full time. So the students that went on that trip, they made a great connection with our host that was there for that day. We've already like forwarded their resumes back to that person so they can get them connected to some opportunities that will be coming up pretty soon. So that was a really great event, and our students got a lot out of it. They got t-shirts, so they got a little swag to take with them. And then a program that I am looking forward to is it's going to be a new program for us. Next Thursday, we are having our first gen SSS alumni panel. So we are going to bring back 3 students that were in SSS previously that have graduated. So one student will be from STEM H, 2 students will be from the classic program, and they're going to be talking about, some things that they're doing now and how, being a first generation college student impacted them, and then also the impact that SSS had on them. So that program is going to be next Thursday at 6 p.m. Is going to be in the Pioneer Center. More information is available on the TWU calendar or the TWU events calendar. So that is an open event. So if any students, particularly first generation students, want to participate in that, we would love to see you there.
That is great. Yeah, the fact that even the program is giving you the opportunity to interact with higher end companies and like, you know, giving you the opportunity to make connections that will open roads to later on in life. Like Toyota, you would have never imagined to go see the headquarters. I know they're fairly new to Dallas, to the Dallas area. So that's super cool. Colin, what about you?
So I would say my favorite workshop was one of like the workshops we had. They had an activity that I really found to be helpful. It was like a quiz activity type thing where you can learn which type of learner you are. So I learned that I'm a mixture of all of them. I'm not only kinesthetic or visual or auditory, I'm all of them. So that really helped because this wasn't a new concept. Like in high school, I had heard, oh, which type of learner are you? But I always thought I had to be one out of the three. So it didn't really help me. It didn't click until I got to college and went to that workshop with Trio that I learned you can implement like parts of all three different learning styles to really help you better in your studies.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And that just really emphasizes how you grasp material in your courses and how you study for stuff. It probably makes it run a lot more smoother when you know how you learn better. Um, so Colin, how has being a part of Trio made your college experience run smoother or changed it in any way as a student?
Yeah, so Trios definitely made it run smoother. I know me and you were both in organic chemistry. I don't know if you use this resource, but I relied on it heavily. Through Trio, we got like a tutor.com password
Yes,
or whatever.
for OChem,
So
I use tutor.com
yes,
all the
you can
time.
literally go 24/7. It can be 2 a.m. You're doing your homework. You log in using your credentials, and there's always a tutor available to help you. And you don't have to put on your camera or anything. You can upload your question and they'll like walk you through the steps. Um, that definitely was a lifesaver. I don't know what I would have done to pass that class if I didn't have Trio to give me that resource.
I agree. Yeah, tutor.com is very helpful, and the fact that Trio grants us the opportunity to have it at no charge is great because I feel like it's made my coursework so much easier. And I've used it for different classes, and it's always helpful. The tutors on there are always willing to help and are patient, and it just helps you understand and grasp the material a lot easier. Um, so with that being said, Ms. Jones and Colin, if you were to give any advice to a newly joined member of Trio, what would it be from personal experience?
Advice from me would really be to participate, and to communicate. So we have just so many different offerings, so many opportunities for students to get resources and support that they need. But this relationship goes both ways, right? So students have to participate in those opportunities in order to get the information and the support that they need. So that's, communicating with staff that's coming to some of our workshops or that's interacting with, like the example that Colin gave with interacting with our tutoring platform to get tutoring. And that platform offers so many other resources. Like I could spend 30 minutes just talking about everything that it provides. Um, going on some of the trips that we provide, and we take some pretty cool trips. And I know that
I agree with that.
yes, both Natalie and Colin can attest to that. But it's very important to be an active participant. And then also the communication piece is very important. We want to make sure that we are able to intervene when our students are experiencing any challenges. Specifically academic challenges. Your purpose of being here is to graduate, get a degree, go on and start your career, so on and so forth. But we want to make sure that you are doing that successfully. Now, we'll find out when things are kind of going off the rails at some point, but we want to be able to intervene as early as possible so that we can help students to get on and then stay on the right track. So my biggest advice would just being an active participant and then being an active communicator. And that's letting us know when things aren't going well and when things are going well. You know, if you're getting accepted into the nursing program, or you got into grad school, or you got this amazing internship or job, we want to know about those things, because then that lets us know that, you know, what we're doing that is actually helping our students.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like whenever I'm feeling down, I just schedule a 30-minute meeting with my director and I'm like, okay, this is what's going on. I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed. What should I do? And then also, like you said, when things are going well, this is what I have planned. This just happened. What's the next steps? And it's just a good session of advice that just kind of helps you see what you're going to do next. Colin?
I totally agree with what both of y'all said. Trio's really what you make it. They give you a lot of resources, a lot of opportunities, but if you don't take advantage of them, you can easily say like, oh, Trio didn't really make a difference. But if you take advantage of every single one, Trio can make a world's difference. Um, I can almost feel guilty about not participating. I know the trip that we went on last summer, that was my absolute favorite trip. I I thought about not really replying to the email and not going because I was scared I wouldn't know anyone. And I was like, I've never been up north. Do I really want to go up north for the first time without family or anything? But after the second email was sent, I said, you know what? Let me take advantage of this. Let me see what opportunity it can present with me. And it was the best trip ever. I've made so many new friends. Like I mentioned earlier, me and Natalie, we had a class together, but we didn't really get close until that trip. And that's the same with so many other Trio SSS students. We even have a group chat now. So definitely take advantage of every opportunity that comes to you.
Yes, I agree. By the way, quick fun fact, me and Colin were roommates for our Washington, D.C. trip, so we shared a hotel room. That was great because I got to meet her a little better and you know, we had classes together, but we didn't really talk like that up until the trip. Um, and not only her, I met so many great friends. Like Colin said, we also went to South by Southwest in Austin. That was amazing. Trio took us out there for about a week, and we got to meet so many people from around the country, not just Texas, but it was people around the nation and just people in random like situations or careers that you wouldn't even imagine. I remember meeting someone um that was a producer for like this really big like music industry and I'm like, "Oh wow, like that's great. You would have never thought to like meet people that know people that you look up to." Um we also met Nick Jonas. I met Nick Jonas with Trio at his panel about diabetes at South by Southwest, and it's just great. Like they both said, communication is all. The effort you put into it is the effort you're gonna get back. You just have to be involved. You have to look for it. It's not gonna come to you just like anything else. But yeah, I've loved being part of this program, and I feel like it's definitely shaped me, not just as a student, but as a person. I didn't think I was, you know, able to do so many things that I am able to do, but I realized that with the power of being in Trio and just meeting great people, and that's what it's all about. But I just want to thank you, Ms. Jones and Colin, for being part of this episode for TWT and sharing more about Trio and about yourselves. It was great talking to y'all and catching up. I look forward to sharing this not only with TW students, but anybody that encounters this episode around the nation. And if Trio is offered at your institution, I would definitely recommend looking into it and, seeing your requirements for your specific institution because it definitely opens many doors. Ms. Jones and Colin, if you have anything else to add, feel free to do so.
Yeah, if anyone is interested in applying for student support services, we also have a McNair Scholars Program. You can find us on the TWU website. So specifically for SSS, our website is twu.edu/trio-SSS. Our application links are there. And then also, if you have any questions, you can reach out to staff. We are also listed on the website. And I don't know the McNair website off the top of my head, but you can go to the TWU website, type in McNair Scholars, and then you can find more information on that TRIO program as well. But thank you so much for having us, Natalie. This was great. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. How about you, Colin? Do you have any last comments?
Yeah, I would say anyone who's listening to this podcast, even if you're not sure if you're eligible, at least fill out the application. They'll let you know if you qualify or not. I wouldn't want anyone to let the opportunity pass them by and they actually do qualify and they don't take the chance or opportunity to see. I know two of my coworkers, they applied after they heard me rant and rave about how great Trio is, and they both got accepted. So definitely take that chance.
All right. Well, thanks again for joining us, and stay tuned for our next episode.